Welcome to the first episode of Mi Sangre es Tu Sangre. I am your host, Roger Reis, Senor Sangre. Thank you for joining us today as we embark on this journey of why blood donations are so important and how you watching today can be a lifesaver for somebody who is in need of a blood transfusion. Many of us go throughout our lives not thinking about the need for blood donations until reality is staring us in the face and either us or a loved one is in need of generosity from a total stranger to come in and save their lives. And so our first episode, we reached out to the South Texas Blood and Tissue, the blood bank here in South Texas. We spoke with Ashley Frolick, their digital manager, and with her we were able to discuss the importance of blood donation, but also some of the things that they see as far as communicating and getting younger donors to come in and donate. Some of the obstacles that they have to overcome, some of the roadblocks that they see, why younger donors probably not donating, and why the importance of bringing in more donors is so important for not only South Texas, but throughout the nation, as we're seeing an older population, and more people are needing blood. And then some areas are growing even bigger with population growth, such as South Texas, and the need for blood here. We talk a little bit about some of the patients that she is able to help, and how you can definitely help some of those patients. We talk about FDA regulations and the new regulations that are in place now that allow for more donors to come out and donate, more inclusive of donations, something that we hadn't seen in a very long time. So we're able to touch on some of that, on what inspires her to donate, why she donates on a regular basis. And then so without further ado, I take you on to this journey and show you how, and see maybe you can step up and donate wherever you're at. We'll have some more information at the end of how you can get involved as far as donating wherever you're at, because wherever you're at, I'm pretty sure, I'm almost for certain, there's a patient waiting for you to save their life. Welcome to another edition of Mi Sangre es Tu Sangre. I'm your host, Roger Reis, Senor Sangre. Joining me today is Ashley Frolick from South Texas Blood and Tissue. Hello, Ashley.
Hey, Senor Sangre. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Who am I? It's like such an existential question you're starting me off with. I am the digital services manager at South Texas Blood and Tissue.
Well, thank you for joining us today. And you are a member of the South Texas Blood and Tissue, the blood center here in South Texas. So tell us a little bit about South Texas Blood and Tissue and what they are.
South Texas Blood and Tissue has been around for 50 years this year. It started in 1974 as a kind of a solution for having a focal place to get blood donations to patients all across South Texas. So today, we serve 48 counties across South Texas. It's a really wide area. We serve about 100 medical centers and hospitals and clinics, and all of the blood donations go to patients who need blood for whatever reason that they may need it. A lot of times it's life-saving. Sometimes it's to help them through cancer therapy. A lot of people don't realize most of blood donations, about 36% of blood donations actually go to cancer patients, and they need more than one. They usually need it pretty regularly. I do want to say South Texas is a blood center, and I think most people know us as a blood center, but there are other donations that we help facilitate. For example, cord blood and birth tissue donations. I think a lot of people don't know what that even is. We also help facilitate tissue donation, which is kind of in line with organ, eye, and tissue donations. And we have a research arm of our organization where you can donate for research, which is really important because at some point in the future, we want to be able to make sure that blood is readily available and make sure there are cures for some of the blood disorders that we see that people need donations for.
Wow. So it sounds like y'all do a lot more than just what we see on the TV and on social media with blood. So that's kind of neat to kind of learn about that. So with that, how does your role within the organization play into a factor with all this and what you do on a daily basis?
Mm. Everyone at the center plays a part. My part, I am as a digital services manager. I help manage our website. That means like really large projects would be like a whole website redesigns or even smaller projects like just updating the website on a monthly basis. Some of it also means making sure that we have our SEO up to date and that that's running really well so that when someone searches for blood donations in San Antonio, that we will pop up and they'll see where all of our centers are. I also do help on the social media side. I help mostly plan the calendar, but I can't take credit for all of the content we produce. A lot of that's produced by our digital specialist, Sarah. We also have a really awesome, she used to be an intern and now we're working with her on a contract basis and she's great. Her name's Karina and she helps with our reels. So she helps put that together. The other thing that I help with is what we call donor marketing, where we're really trying to get people to schedule donations. That's the main part of my job is to find ways through digital platforms to encourage people to schedule donations. So I spend a lot of time putting together an email calendar and sending emails off to donors for blood drives near them or letting them know about what kind of thank you gifts we're offering any time of the month. So hopefully they'll come in, they'll donate, they'll have a great experience, and then they can get some kind of thank you gift.
So I guess that's kind of tough when you're saying the calendar, you're not just managing what we need for blood here in our community, but all these other types of ways people can give back. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So how do you manage?
Complex.
Sorry, say that again.
It can get a little complex, but you kind of have to juggle the calendar and you have to make sure that you're not reaching people so often that they just kind of scroll past your message. And you're also trying to make sure that your content is diverse so that, they're not scrolling past your content. They're really absorbing what you're trying to tell them.
So how do you go about, I guess, brainstorming and specifically the audience that we're trying to reach here is young adults, to get them to click and be part of this and why it's so important from their perspective to be part of this community of giving back and donating?
Yeah, so it is more and more challenging, I think, across the board, not just for nonprofits, but for any kind of organization that's trying to reach Gen Z and Gen Alpha. It's more and more challenging to reach them because they don't digest advertising or promotions the way that millennials and Gen Xers have in the past. So I think what we're coming across is like, if you have a graphic on social media, and it's so a graphic as opposed to a photo of a real person, as opposed to a graphic that has like a lot of colors, a vector image, there's some kind of font on it. I think people see that immediately as an ad and they're just going to swipe right past because they're just really used to absorbing user-generated content. So I think that TikTok in particular has just changed the whole game as far as communicating because people are really absorbing information to be educated or entertained. They really don't want to be advertised to. So it's really finding a balance of how can we make content where we are educating, we are entertaining, we're showing stories, and just make sure what we put out is engaging. It is really challenging. It's very different from advertising and sharing even like narratives in the past. But it is really, really fun and it requires a lot of creativity and it requires a lot of thinking outside the box. I would say that we are really working on trying to do this better, but we still have a long way to go. Right now, most of our content that we create is for Instagram. And really, Instagram is no longer a platform where Gen Z, Gen Alpha users are. I think there's still people there, but it's really TikTok, I think Snapchat. And we don't have Snapchat because the way it's used isn't really the way, it's more for really friends talking to each other. So we kind of have to respect the platforms and how they're used and try to reach people where they are.
But tailoring it to and trying to capture that audience is kind of difficult because they serve this younger audience that they're trying to bring in, that y'all are trying to bring in is kind of tough. But why is it so important to bring in that demographic into becoming blood donors?
Yeah, what we're seeing across the nation, not just here in South Texas, but across the nation, is that donations are declining. They've been declining. We've seen a big decline because of the pandemic, and we're hoping to recover from that. What people may not know is that pre-pandemic, 20% of our blood donations came from high school and university blood drives. So that younger 16 to 24 age range. During the pandemic, that went way down because we were no longer able to have those blood drives at high schools and universities. And now that the pandemic's over, they're starting to come back, but we really have seen we've been having a hard time reaching those donors again and bringing them back. And we want to make sure that the younger generation is coming in to donate, because at some point, as you get older, there is a point where you can't donate anymore. And so we kind of need those donors to come in and kind of take over for what our older donors are doing. And I know it's really difficult because, older donors, often if they're retired, they have more time on their hands. They can come in. And I think there's some like, well, I'm in school and I'm trying to work a full-time job and I don't have time to come in and donate. But a donation really, depending on what you're donating, it could take maybe an hour of your whole week. And if you're donating whole blood, you can donate every 8 weeks. So it's 1 hour every 8 weeks. And I just want to encourage people to really think about coming in, even though they're really, really busy, because at the other end of your blood donation is someone who needs this donation.
Right. Something you said right now, and I wanted to touch on a little bit about that somebody may not know, is the word whole blood. What is that exactly? And if you can explain a little bit about what whole blood is.
Yeah, there are different types of blood donation. And I know it gets a little complicated, but what a whole blood donation is that you come in, you'll do a questionnaire, you'll be on the chair for about 15 minutes, maybe. If you're well hydrated, it often could be anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. The more hydrated you are, the faster your donation is going to go. And what happens is they take your whole blood and it's in a little bag, like a pint, and that will then go to be broken down into 3 components, which is platelets, red blood cells, and plasma. And that's why we say every blood donation can help save 3 lives. Like that goes to potentially 3 different patients. That is opposed to like a platelet donation. Platelet donations are different. It's a different type of fluid in your body, first of all. But it's really important. It helps with clotting. A lot of cancer patients need platelets. And it's different from whole blood, which can be on the shelf 52 days. And platelets are only on the shelf 7 days. And just keep in mind that 2 of those days we're doing testing and stuff. So really there's like a 5-day shelf life for platelets. But the process takes a little longer for platelets. So if you're going in for a platelet donation, and if you have time to do, I really recommend doing it. It's about 45 minutes to 2 hours. It depends on how much you want to donate. You can donate a single, which is a single bag of platelets. You can donate a double up to a triple. And this will take about 45 minutes to 2 hours. What they do is they'll pass your donation through what we call an apheresis machine. The apheresis machine actually filters out your red blood cells. It gives your red blood cells back to you, and it takes your platelets. So you're actually not donating whole blood when you do a platelet donation. You're strictly donating platelets. It gets a little complicated, but I hope that kind of explains it.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm a blood donor as well. I know you are a blood donor. And for those who have never donated blood, um, tell them a little bit about your reasons of why you donate blood, and how often have you donated blood, and what is the gallon mark? Because I know you're at a special gallon of where you're at already of how many times you've donated.
Yeah, I just reached 9 gallons. I started donating, I think it was 12 years ago. And I donated because I have always spent time volunteering, or I've donated financially to charities. And I had just gotten out of college. I was getting my first job, and I didn't really have money to donate to charities anymore. And I didn't really have time to volunteer. So what I decided to do instead was donate blood. And my first blood donation was at a blood drive at Ancira Chevrolet. I remember it exactly because my phlebotomist just happened to be someone I used to work with. And he's like, hey, don't worry about it. I know it's your first time. He was great. And I think the first time you're a little bit nervous about that initial needle prick. I feel like that's a big deterrent for people. But it just was really easy, and it didn't really hurt. Maybe like a tiny pinch, but it was just nothing too serious. And the donation just went by quickly, about 15 minutes or so. And you're in a really comfortable bed when you donate. You usually have like a TV to watch. If you're donating platelets, you can watch a movie or read a book, or do whatever you want to do in that time. It's usually very comfortable. I usually donate platelets myself. I am a mom, and I kind of think of my platelet donation as a little staycation. And I usually read a book, or I watch a movie, or I catch up on a show, because I can't usually do those things otherwise.
Do you have a personal goal for where you want to go as how many gallons you want to donate? Because like you're saying, with one donation, 3 lives are being saved. So I can't do math, so I'm not going to even try. But how many lives is that since you've been doing that you've helped or saved?
I'm not a math person. I hope this is right. And for every donation, you can save up to 3 lives. So it's about 216
wow.
patients that have been impacted. Yeah.
So 216 patients are kind of alive or doing or been helped by what you've done. That's a lot to take in. How does that make you feel, learning that you've been able to help that many people?
I do think that as a person, I just want to make a positive impact in the world. Kind of that's how I want to leave my mark on the world. So I'm glad I'm able to do that in some way. But I've also met some of the people who have needed donations, and that kind of inspires me to continue donating. Like, I've met patients who had cancer and they've needed those platelet donations or blood donations. And I've met people who had needed a blood donation to save their lives and to actually continue living. So I think that is really my inspiration for continuing to donate.
Awesome. So going back to your job and kind of trying to recruit this younger audience, what are some of the things that you are looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to doing more TikTok content, which is really fun. And it's a little bit different from the really curated content that we do on Instagram. TikTok content is like, you need to just go out there one day, just get it real quick and turn it around within a day or so. And we are working on doing that, but it's a little bit of an uphill battle because of just the time and resources that we have to work on those things. I think the other thing that I'm looking forward to is some of the high school programs that we have coming out. So we do have the Gin Give high school program, where if you donate a high school blood drive, you can earn money that goes back to your high school. So I feel like it's a give back kind of program. I think that we need to do a lot of more boots on the ground kind of work, like being at universities, talking to clubs, kind of having tables when they have their events, like out in the rotunda and the different, and really make it really fun. Or maybe we could have offerings like, hey, just you find out your blood type, and we'll give you a bag of Takis and some queso, or some hot Cheetos or something. I think it would be really cool to see those kind of programs flourish and help educate, because I really think that there is a lack of awareness of how important blood donation is. If people knew, they would certainly come out more, especially the younger generations. I mean, these are very active generations that want to do something good for the world. So if they know about it, they'll typically kind of speak out about it, and they'll come out and do their part.
Yeah, great, good information. What has been some of the feedback, I guess, from when you go to these high schools or colleges, or just in general from the general public, of why they don't come and donate? Is there particular reasons why they say they don't come in and donate, and why there's so many blood shortages across our area?
I think people just don't know that there are blood drives. And so we do try to communicate through flyers and emails and text messages. But one of the issues that we have is that because of, if you're in a digital media world or any communications world, you're going to have to understand like CAN-SPAM Act. So we can't go and email and text someone who hasn't opted in to receive our text messages. And often those are existing donors. So those are donors who already know who we are. But if you don't know who we are, then the only way that we can reach you right now is through like social media ads or by putting flyers up in the area. Those are easy to miss. And like I said, people just kind of swipe past anything that they see as kind of an advertisement. I do think needles really freak people out. Unfortunately, what we hear that a lot is like, I'm just too afraid of needles. And I don't know how else to get past that fear other than education. And you really, you really just have to take the step to do it yourself, and you'll find that it's not really difficult, or it doesn't hurt as much. Something that we tell people who come in and they're kind of worried about needle, we'll tell them like, it really is just a pinch. But in addition to that, the people who are on the receiving end of your donation, they often have ports, or they have IVs, or they're being pricked with needles almost every day. And so it's kind of so important to remember where your donation is going. But that's also another reason I don't think that people really know who is receiving these donations. And it's really interesting because blood donations are actually the most common procedure in hospitals. And I don't think you have to look too far in your own personal network and personal circles to find someone who has needed blood. Like, you start asking about it. You may find someone in your family or your friends who has needed blood at some point for whatever reason. And it's just, it's just telling more of those stories, getting it more out there so that people can hear them.
That's so true. That's so true. I was reading something from the American Cancer Society just the other day, whereas 1 in 4 people will know somebody who's had cancer or will have cancer at one point in their lives. And like you said, a big percentage of blood that is donated is going to go to somebody who has cancer. So chances are, if you have not experienced it at some point, unfortunately, they're going to experience it in their lives, where they're going to depend on the generosity of somebody's heart of donating blood to either help their loved one or themselves. I'm looking at your shirt here. That shirt is kind of has some special meaning to it, and it's an inaugural shirt that I know a little bit about. But if you want to explain what you're wearing there, that's kind of a neat shirt you have on.
Yeah, this is kind of a moment in history in blood centers. I don't know if you can see that, but this is our Gate with Pride shirt. We had a blood drive at the Bonham Exchange to kick off Pride Month this month. It's the first time we've had a LGBTQ blood drive. Last year, the FDA overturned a guidance that basically it impacted gay and bisexual men. Previous to this, gay and bisexual men were not able to donate. They were deferred, and it was all kind of related to the risk of HIV. But because of lots of study, lots of data, they basically found that this risk of HIV, it needed to be expanded to everyone. So what they did is they kind of took out that blanket deferral and extended it to everyone. So in the new questionnaire, you'll see if you come in and donate, you'll be asked certain questions about your sexual history, and all of that is just to ensure that the risk of to ensure there's no risk of HIV. And so because of that, because of this new deferral has been overturned, it kind of opened the doors to be more to have more inclusive donors in our donor room. So it's kind of exciting. This happened last year, and this was the first year that we were able to have this blood drive. And it's really a historic moment.
So thank you, Ashley, for joining us again. As you can see, you can make a difference in someone's life by going out and donating in your community, either being in South Texas or wherever you're at across the nation, around the world. You can definitely make an impact. Taking less than an hour of your time, hydrate before you come in and donate, hydrate after your donation, and save 3 lives with your one donation. If you're not financially able to support your community and give back, but you're a giving person, this is a great way to give back. It takes less than an hour. The needle in the arm, take it from me, I'm a 14-gallon donor as well. It takes anywhere from 8 to 10 to 15 minutes at most to donate blood and save 3 lives and mean an impactful meaning for a family who is in need, either getting their mother back, getting their child back, dad be able to get back to work, mother getting back to work, child be able to go back to school. Means so much. I hope you will join me for the next episode where we'll talk to another person who's been impacted by blood donations and what it means to them and their family. So thank you for joining us for this episode of Mi Sangre es Tu Sangre, and donate blood and save some lives.